Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you joining me here today, starting a little bit late today, fraught with technical problems this morning. I mean, fraught. You know when I bust out the word fraught, you know it's been bad. It's been bad technical problems morning, believe you me, but finally I got it all up and running, and we're here today to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all that kind of stuff. Here's how today's show is going to go. Picked out 3 topics that you guys have emailed into me, then we're going to go on to some live questions. Without any further ado, let's dive right into it with the first question. And the first topic today comes to us from Justin Choi. And Justin Choi writes, hey John, I loved the Lego Batman movie and got excited when I heard Adam McKay was going to direct the Nightwing movie. I think you meant Chris McKay. Anyway, haven't heard anything about it in ages, and today I hear he's in talks to direct Dungeons & Dragons. So I guess 2 questions. Number 1, into the idea of a Dungeons & Dragons movie? Number 2, what is going on at DC? All right, well, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yes, word came out that it looks like Paramount is talking with Chris McKay, who, and I think we accidentally have a picture of Adam McKay there in the sidebar because it said Adam McKay. That's not Ray's fault. I sent Ray the show notes. The guy wrote Adam McKay, so I think he put Adam McKay in there. Anyway, it's Chris McKay, not the director of all those Will Ferrell movies, but rather the director of the Lego Batman movie, did some directing on Robot Chicken as well. Love the job Chris McKay did on the Lego Batman movie. Love the job he did on that. So for those of you who weren't keeping up to it, what happened was Warner Brothers was apparently really impressed with what he did with Lego Batman movie, and being the reactionary company that they are, they said, well, let's sign him quick to do something. What? I don't know. Nightwing. Okay, yay, you're going to do Nightwing. And then just out of nowhere, they just pegged him to do Nightwing. And then nothing happened. So they grab him up immediately. As soon as Batman was a success, they scoop him up immediately, say he's directing Nightwing, and then nothing. Nothing. So they scooped him up to do Nightwing before they even realized, oh, wait a minute, we don't actually have a plan. We don't really have a plan here. What are we doing? I don't know. Bob said he knew what he was doing. Well, I thought Phil said he knew what he was doing. Anyway, daily conversations over in the DC wing of Warner Brothers, which is still incredibly frustrating because Warner Brothers is such an awesome studio. That studio runs like a finely tuned clock, man. They are a fabulous studio. I do not know why they have so much problems with their DC properties. Anyway, so they do all that and we hear nothing about it. So once again, they jump the gun, make this big announcement. Oh, he's going to be directing, woo, and then nothing. So much so now that apparently Nightwing is now so much on the back burner. Chris McKay is like, okay, then there's this other studio actually offering me a movie that they're actually going to do. I'm going to go talk to them. So he's in now talks to do a Dungeons & Dragons movie, which is interesting. Now, of course, they've done a Dungeons & Dragons movie before with horrible results. Just terrible. That Dungeons & Dragons movie is a great example to me, that first Dungeons & Dragons movie, because often, I'll talk to people who say, who should they get to direct this? And they'll go, well, it's got to be somebody who's a big fan of the source material. If someone's going to direct this hero or that story or whatever, it has to be somebody who's a big fan of the original source material. No, they don't. They just need to be a good director. Because you know who directed the Dungeons & Dragons movie? They went out and they got this guy who's like the world's biggest, obsessed dude about Dungeons & Dragons. And that didn't help the movie at all. Anyway, it doesn't hurt if you get a director who's really passionate about the source material either. But anyway, so that was a thing. Now, Dungeons & Dragons is enjoying something of a resurgence these days. Just got my D20 ready to go here at the moment's notice. Anybody says they're going to get a game going, I'm ready to go. It's enjoying a bit of a resurgence. More and more people are playing Dungeons & Dragons again. As a matter of fact, like my wife Ann, there's an entire group. They have a big group at Hasbro that just plays Dungeons & Dragons, like one night a week. Ann has, I kid you not, Ann's character is a halfling. Because Ann is a very short girl. She's like 5'2". And Anne's character is a character she calls Bimbo Baggage. She came up with the name, not me. Bimbo Baggage is her character's name. Anyway, it's enjoying a resurgence with Dungeons and Dragons, all that is a world that you are like free to play in and do whatever. I love the idea of doing a Dungeons and Dragons movie, but remember, Dungeons and Dragons really in and of itself is just a setting. It's a world you have there that now you can get some good screenwriters to go in and create any kind of a story that you want within that world. Leveraging the IP of Dungeons and Dragons is a no-brainer. Absolutely, that's what you do. Completely. So that's a good move. That's a smart move on their part to do. And I think there would be an audience for it. Whether it be a big hit or not is really up to the marketing and how good or bad the movie is. But there's an audience out there for it. So I love the idea of them doing this. As far as what is going on over at Warner Brothers, well, again, make no mistake, Warner Brothers is a fabulous studio. So let's not confuse them having some struggles in one area, meaning that the whole place, it's not. The place is in very good shape. But again, another example of them announcing 75 movies without ever having a plan, even signing on directors when they have no idea when and if they're even going to do a project. Now, it should be pointed out here that nothing has said in any of the reports that I've read, nothing has said that Chris McKay has ditched Nightwing. All right? It's quite possible, maybe even likely, that the scenario simply here is that maybe he's still attached to Nightwing, and he's just like, oh, okay, guys, I'll tell you what, I'll be back in a year and a half. I'm going to go off and do this D&D movie, and in a year and a half, then I'll be free again, and by the pace you guys are moving at, you're probably still not going to be ready to go with it, so I'll be back in a year and a half. See you in a year and a half. So maybe he has departed entirely. All I'm saying is at this point, I haven't seen anything in any reports that suggest to me that that's the case, that he's actually just left the film. He's just left it for now. And whether that for now turns into a permanent thing or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, look, I'm excited about a D&D movie. I really like the job Chris McKay. I haven't really seen anything else he's directed because he hasn't directed many features other than the Lego Batman movie. But I like the job he did with that. He had some really good sensibilities. Let's see what he does. I'm curious about it, and who wants to play some D&D? All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from Amanda, who writes, "Hi, John. I watch your show every day, and I'm a big fan." Well, thank you so much, Amanda. A report surfaced from Variety that Jessica Chastain is in talks to play the adult Beverly in It Chapter 2. My question is, with Chastain looking likely to play Beverly, do you think other actors at her caliber will end up in talks to play the adult Losers Club? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yeah, it's funny because, when It came out, as soon as the credits started to roll, everybody started talking and speculating about who could play Chastain, who could play Beverly next. And there was always two names. Like right from the beginning, the audience buzzed about two names, Amy Adams and Jessica Chastain. Because you could totally see that girl who played Beverly growing up to be Amy Adams or Jessica Chastain. I actually saw a little bit more Amy Adams in her, but I could totally see the Jessica Chastain too. And everybody was talking about, it's got to be this, it's got to be Adams or Chastain, Adams or Chastain. And then a short while after that, in post-production of the movie, there was an interview with the director of the film, and he even mentioned he would love to get Jessica Chastain involved. And he's worked with Jessica Chastain before. Oh, what was the director? Now I got to bring it up. It 2017. The director of It worked with Jessica Chastain before. It's Andy Muschietti. I always mispronounce his name. Muschietti. And he worked with Chastain. What was the name? It was Mama. I think it was Mama that he did with Jessica Chastain. That's right. So he's worked with her before. So that, is an advantage right there. So look, it's important to note at this point, the reports are saying she has signed on, to the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge, what they're saying right now is that she is in talks to play the role. I know the fans would love it. If it was either her or Amy Adams, everybody was going to be happy. And look, Jessica Chastain is just, she's the shit. Jessica Chastain is one of the best in the business right now. She was just starred in my second favorite movie of last year, which was Molly's Game. Loved Molly's Game. She killed it in Zero Dark 30. She was great in Crimson Peak, even though I didn't think Crimson Peak was all that great of a film. The movie that I really took notice of Jessica Chastain was in The Help. That movie, first of all, The Help is one of my favorite movies of the past 5, 10 years. That movie is so good. I remember coming out of a screening of The Help and tweeting out, I couldn't say what movie it was yet at the time because I saw a pretty early version of it, but I tweeted out, I just saw a movie that reminds me about why I love the movies. And it was The Help. The Help is so good. Emma Stone, Octavia Spencer, and obviously Jessica Chastain, who was one of the smaller roles in the film, but she was a huge standout. And I just fell in love with her after that. And so for her to play Beverly in the new It, I think it's a slam dunk. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be people who maybe would have rather preferred Amy Adams, but they're only basing that on the fact that maybe the young girl who played the younger Beverly looks a little bit more like Amy Adams. But I think generally speaking, even those people would say, yeah, we're happy with Jessica Chastain if they indeed sign it. Now, as far as will they get other actors of her caliber? Look, they're always going to cast actors that they hopefully think are quite talented. Whether they're going to be as big names as Jessica Chastain, that's not really the issue. The issue is make sure you get talented actors that can act alongside of her. Don't go out for some gimmick casting with it. I hope they don't do that. And just get somebody around, even just a little bit under the same talent level as Jessica Chastain, and then I think everybody will be fine. All right, let's move on now to the final email question of the day. And the final email question today comes to us from James Lane, who writes, been a fan since the movie blog days. Oh, thanks so much, man. Those were good days, my movie blog days. You've talked a few times about MoviePass, and I see now that it's $7.95 a month. However, when I try to sign up, it tells me it's billed annually. What gives? Has it always been an annual payment, or will they go back to monthly billing soon? I wanted 2 cards, but I'm not paying that much all at once. Thanks. All right, well, thanks a lot for the question, James. And yeah, so MoviePass is a big thing, a big topic going on, of course, in the world of movie fandom. I mean, normally pay $10 a month and get to go see up to 1 movie a day. I love my MoviePass card. I have 2 cards. I have MoviePass and I have Cinemia. They essentially do the same thing. I've talked about this before, but these 2 cards essentially do the same thing with some minor differences. And they each have advantages. Like the advantage of Cinemia is that you can buy your tickets online in advance, which is great. So I was able to use my Cinemia card 2 days in advance to book tickets at a screening of Black Panther. I didn't have to be at the theater or anything like that. That was great. Advantages of MoviePass is yes, you have to only use it the day of and you have to be at the theater, but you get up to 1 a day. You get actual more movies if you can go to that many. So both have their strengths and weaknesses. I love them both, so I keep both of them in my wallet. I slightly prefer Cinemia, but I like them both. I keep them both in my wallet. MoviePass is a little sketchy as a company. I, at this point, don't trust them at all. I find them to be so disingenuous and so bad at communicating to their customers and flat out lying to their customers quite a bit. I find the MoviePass company to be a really sketchy company. I do. I love the service, so I keep the card in my wallet for sure. Now, it is not unusual for any kind of a company, depending on what the service is, to say, hey, you can get a monthly at this, or if you pay for an annual thing, like you pay for the full year up front, we'll even give you a little bit more of a discount. That's not an unusual thing. And usually that's the better deal. So what you're saying, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the question. Okay, so James, so when you're saying, I don't want to pay that much for these cards, remember, long-term, you're saving money if you do the 1-year commitment. You got to think longer term. So you'll be saving money to do it that way. However, that being said, I would not encourage people to sign up for MoviePass while the deal that they have is for signing up for a year. Once and this is only for a short time, they're going to bring back just the $10 monthly thing for people to sign up for. I would recommend that to anybody. Even though I think the company's pretty sketchy, I would recommend signing up for the MoviePass at $10 a month. Absolutely, I would. The reason I would caution against, and this is just from my own personal opinion, okay? The reason I would caution against signing up for an annual thing with MoviePass, normally I'm all for signing up for annual things if it saves you more money. The reason I would caution against doing that with MoviePass is because I don't feel confident they're even going to be in existence a year from now. I really don't. the way they're doing their business, all that kind of stuff, I just don't know that they are going to survive as a company. Now, maybe they will, and I hope they do. Again, I love using the service. I think it's a great service. But I just don't feel confident that in 5 months, we're not going to hear MoviePass shut down overnight. I just don't feel confident about that. Then you got ripped off. Then you're out some money. I mean, it's not a lot of money, granted, but yeah, because of that, because I don't have a lot of confidence in MoviePass's long-term sustainability, I would recommend against signing up for the year. And as a matter of fact, it almost feels like something a sketchy company would do. It's like, hey man, I don't know that we're going to last 6 months. What should we do? I know. Let's get people to sign up and pay us for a full year right now. I mean, anyway, so it's a great service. I like it a lot. I just have my doubts in their business model. I don't know that they're sustainable. I find the way, especially their CEO communicates, is pretty sketchy. So I wouldn't trust them with a year-long commitment. Month to month, yes, I encourage everybody to give it a try. But a year-long commitment, I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them. But maybe you guys do. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. All right. With that out of the way, guys, let's go on to the live questions that you guys have been sending in here. And we're going to start off our live questions with Manuel Fernandez, who writes, "Hey, John, what are your thoughts on the Loth Wolves in Rebels? Where do you think Filoni is going with them?" I'll be honest with you. I have no idea. I like them. I'm reading some other people online saying they're getting kind of tired of the Loth Wolves and they're stretching out the mystery of them a little bit too long. But honestly, I like them. I get a kick out of them. I do. I think the big one is Kanan. I think that one's Kanan. But where they're going to go with them at this point, I really have no idea. I have no idea. And to be honest with you, I haven't really spent a lot of time speculating about it. So I just hope Filoni's got a good idea for him. Let's see. Next one comes to us from Anthony, who writes, "We are yet to receive a great Star Wars film in this new era of movies. The Force Awakens and Rogue One were good. The Last Jedi, not so much. Wanting for one to completely floor me." Well, I mean, I'll disagree with you, Anthony. I do think The Force Awakens was great. And I think Rogue One was great. So I'll disagree with you that we haven't received a great one yet. Are they on the same level as the original trilogy? No. No Star Wars movie is. I don't know if any Star Wars movie ever will be. But I did think The Force Awakens was great. I think Rogue One was great. I think The Last Jedi was good. You guys know I have my issues with The Last Jedi. I still think it's a good movie. I had a good time watching it. I went to see it multiple times. But I'll put those other two ahead of it for now. So yeah, I'll disagree with you. I think the other couples have been great. I've really enjoyed them. Like, unlike my prequel experience where I thought I liked them at first, and each time I went to go see them afterwards, I realized more and more, no, this movie isn't good. With The Force Awakens, I was a little bit different because I remember coming out of the premiere, and I think I liked it less than everybody else in my group did. But then I saw it again and I liked it more. Then I saw it again and I liked it more. Then I saw it again, and then I saw it about 12 times in theaters. And by the 12th time, I'm like, damn, I love this movie. I love this movie. And I really got a kick out of it. The Last Jedi, I liked it. I thought it was good. I love what they did with Luke Skywalker. And I've seen it multiple times, and my feelings haven't changed up or down since. So that's kind of where it sits with for me. Anthony follows it up with Black Panther, can we finally say that Marvel Studios is the most consistent and successful studio of all time in terms of quality and box office? Like, come on. Well, I mean, we talked about this the other day a little bit. The one thing that I would disqualify Marvel even from that conversation is that they only make one kind of movie. Yes. Within the comic book genre, they do genre blend, yes. But it's not like 20th Century Fox that will do drama, horror, action, comedy, period pieces, blah, 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 blah. Yes, Marvel does genre dance a little bit, but they don't make true horror movies. They don't make true dramas. They don't make true crime stories. They don't make true period pieces, And they make one kind of movie. And so I wouldn't include them in that discussion, to be honest with you. They're really good at the one thing they do, for sure. Absolutely. But I wouldn't put them in that conversation personally. Let's see. Micah T writes, I know I'm early, but I'm already pumped for Black Panther 2. I love superhero movie sequels because you don't have to spend time on the character's origin. It can jump straight into the story. Well, that was one of the advantages that the first Black Panther had. Was that we were already introduced to T'Challa, right? We already had T'Challa in Civil War, and I believe that is one of the big reasons Black Panther succeeded as much as it did. Look, if he wasn't in Civil War, it still would have been a huge success. But I think one of the extra little pushes it got was that we already saw T'Challa in Civil War, and everybody loved him in Civil War. So we got introduced to the character. We already met his father. We already know he loved his father, and his father died, and now he feels the loss and wants vengeance. All that stuff was done in another movie. So you come into now Black Panther, and there was a whole bunch of ground they didn't have to cover already, which was really to its advantage. And I agree with you about sequels. Now, they don't always nail the landing on sequels for sure, but that is one of the advantages that they have, certainly. Anthony writes, where did Anthony go? Anthony writes, we get... Oh, by the way, guys, if you have not sent in a question yet, do not send in any more questions because I'm only going to be able to get through the ones we've got here right now. Anthony writes, we get to see Spider-Man on the big screen every year for 5 years straight. Civil War 2016, Homecoming 2017, Infinity War 2018, Avengers 4 2019, Homecoming 2 2020. All have been confirmed, and what a time to be alive. It certainly is. And you can make the same kind of thing about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like we saw Guardians of the Galaxy in 2017. We're going to see them in 2018 with Infinity War. We're going to see them in 2019 with Infinity War 2. And then did they say it's 2020 or 2021 for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? I can't remember. But we're going to go 3 or 4 years in a row with Guardians of the Galaxy as well. It is a great era to be alive if you're a comic book movie fan, for sure. Jabin Carter writes, we've now seen the amazing Andy Serkis twice play a character who you think is the main villain and then gets killed halfway through. More Serkis. You know what? Here's the thing. By the way, I'm about to give a minor spoiler involving the Andy Serkis character in Black Panther, all right? I'm warning you right now, about to give a spoiler just surrounding the Andy Serkis character. Mute your computer here for the next 30 seconds, okay? If you don't want to hear it, mute your computer for the next 30 seconds. You've been warned, and mute. Okay. I loved Serkis in Black Panther, and I was bummed when they killed him. But they killed him in service to the story, and that's the most important thing. When I realized, oh yeah, he killed him because it was part of his overall plan. That body of Claw becomes his key to get into Wakanda and get his thing in motion. When you kill off even one of a beloved character of me, but you do it in service to the story, to me, that's good storytelling then. Good job. I'm bummed out that you killed him, but it's good storytelling. Okay, and we're back. We're safe now. No more spoiler talk. Let's see. James Welsh writes, did you see the letter Ryan Coogler put out thanking fans for the success of Black Panther? No, I haven't seen that, but very classy of him to do that for sure. This dude, I mean, he's on a streak right now. Fruitvale Station, Creed, and now Black Panther. I mean, what a role this dude is on. Mason Barr writes, is Scott Eastwood Nightwing? Well, nobody's Nightwing right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure Scott is a high enough caliber of an actor and he's good and he's getting better at everything I see him in. I just don't know that I would put a franchise on his shoulders. I don't know if I'd put him in the lead in something at this point, especially something like Nightwing, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? Anthony writes, if Tommy Wiseau is Joker in the standalone film, no, never happened. XX Your Disease writes, hey John, do you feel that a filmmaker needs to detach themselves from their religious beliefs in order to express themselves? If story needs blood/sex? No. I mean, look, do you need to? No. But I don't think it's an either or either. I don't think that it's like, oh, you either have to hold on to it or you have to let it go. No, it can be either, whatever. Look, storytellers basically tell stories sometimes from the point of view in which they stand in life and where they stand, and they kind of express the world the way they see it or things like that. That's what storytellers do. Sometimes they do something completely different, and that's fine too. But I don't think there's a rule or anything about that, about if you're going to make a movie, you have to hold to whatever religious beliefs you have. I don't think if you're going to make a movie, you have to disassociate yourself from whatever religious beliefs you have. I think either or is fine, depending on the nature of the movie you're making. And then there you go. But like I've told you the story, right? Like one of my buddies, it's my buddy's birthday today. His name's Bruxy Cavey. And we lived together in a house for a while. We've worked together. Cool, great dude. He's a philosopher, theologian, poet in many ways, and he's like the lead minister of like the biggest church in Canada right now. He is a pacifist, hardcore pacifist. Like he certainly doesn't believe in killing. He doesn't believe in violence, all that kind of stuff. Hardcore pacifist. But I've rarely seen a bigger action film fan than him. But I remember I was talking about that. He goes, "Oh, if it's just a movie, oh yeah, man, I want to see heads coming off. I want to see samurais, thousands of samurais battling with lightsabers and torsos coming apart and all that kind of stuff." Like, because he separates movies from reality, right? So I think the same is true of directors. If they want to do it holding their religious beliefs, great. If they don't, that's great too. I really don't care. I don't think it has to be a rule for one way or the other. Pedro Garcia writes, I got pulled from my student teaching placement, but I may have another opportunity. I saw Logan with my bro for the first time, and it made me happy. Well, that's one of the great things about movies, right? No matter what is going on in life, you can escape for a minute, go to a movie, look at the world a different way, in a different reality or whatever, and come out feeling happy. And that's just one of the great things about movies, and I'm glad that the movies were able to be there for you in that situation, Pedro. Thanks for sharing that. Monkey of Algis writes, greetings from Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg. The Forks, man. The Forks. Non-movie, your Leafs and my Jets are set for a playoff run. How far do you think? Tough to say. I refused in the last 20 years to ever get my hopes up about the Leafs. I still cheer. I bleed blue and white, but I will never get my hopes up for them because they're the Leafs. But they are my favorite team, and it would be really nice to see a number of Canadian teams go deep this year. Dakota Barber writes, thoughts on The Descent, one of my favorite horror movies. It is my favorite horror movie of the past 15 years. My all-time favorite horror movie is American Werewolf in London. Not American Werewolf in Paris. American Werewolf in London is my all-time favorite horror movie. My second all-time favorite horror movie is The Descent. I love that movie. I think it's just fabulous. And it's one of those movies that Ann and I disagree on. I can't get Ann to watch it. Because she watched half of it once and she thought it was boring. I'm like, what? Anyway, almost left her over that. But no, I'm just kidding, obviously. But yeah, I think it's my second favorite all-time horror movie. N8V writes, just recently noticed that Hans Zimmer did the score/soundtrack for Call of Duty. It'd be really cool if he comes back to score the movie. Well, I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, if they want him and if they can afford him and all that kind of stuff, I don't see why. As long as, like, his schedule I'm sure is always busy. So it all depends. But yeah, it would be cool to see that. Blu-ray Movies UK just sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Teomis Yusuf writes, the studio won't have given Coogler that budget if Feige was still answering to Perlmutter in the Disney Marvel civil rights. And the Disney Marvel Civil War never happened. What do you think? I don't know about that. Perlmutter greenlit some big budgets. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad Kevin Feige's out from under Perlmutter. I am. But Perlmutter did greenlight a number of very big budgets. But he doesn't like to pay, and you know what? I don't disagree with him too much. It's just that he doesn't like to pay individuals ridiculous, stupid amounts of money. And because when you look at the films he greenlit some big budgets, man. He did. So yeah, I think Black Panther probably would have happened. I think maybe Chadwick Boseman wouldn't have gotten as big of a paycheck as he got. Maybe Coogler doesn't get as big of a paycheck as maybe he got. But I still think the movie would have had a pretty healthy budget. But yeah, all things being equal, though, I am glad that Feige's out from under Perlmutter. Okay, just got a couple more minutes here, guys. John Sabia writes, John, chances of a full Oscar ballot preview show. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing a preview for the Oscars. Absolutely. 100%. Zom G. Ruler writes, John, if Justice League Blu-ray breaks records, still reboot. Yeah. Look, first of all, the studios don't make anywhere near as much money on Blu-rays and stuff like that as everybody seems. There's this myth and this fairy tale that's where they get a big chunk of money. No, it's a relatively small percentage of what the income for these movies are. It doesn't matter what it does on Blu-ray. People voted by not going to see it in theaters. It's just that simple. People voted by not going to see it. There's a reason Justice League was the lowest grossing. Fewer people went to go see Justice League than any other DCEU movie. Wrap your head around that. Forget box office dollars. People. Less people went to go see Justice League than any other DCEU movie. The public confidence in that movie is gone. In the DCEU is pretty much shot. Whether they should be shot or shouldn't be shot, that's not what I'm discussing. The reality is, public confidence, movie-going public's confidence in the DCEU is shot. How else do you explain Black Panther making $201 million opening weekend and making more money in 4 days domestically than Justice League did in 13 weeks? Is it because DC doesn't have good characters? Damn right they have good characters. They have some of the greatest characters. No. It doesn't matter what it does on Blu-ray. It really does not matter what it does on Blu-ray. It makes no difference. The movie-going audience has spoken. We've given up on the DCEU. Sorry, that's the clear message. It's the clear message. So anyway, RCast6 writes, pick one, Zimmer's Man of Steel or Dark Knight score. It's not a tough choice for me, man. It's the Man of Steel score. I'm not saying which one's the better movie. That's not what you're asking. You asked me which one's the better score. I think Zimmer's Man of Steel score. I love that score. Not putting down the Dark Knight score, but the Zimmer score for me is the score. Geek Out Loud writes, is Mariah gone? Did complainers chase her off? I'm not going to discuss behind the scenes stuff, but I'll let you know that today was a technical issue day. That's why the show started late, all that kind of stuff. It was technical issues. Josh Harris writes, hey John, big fan from Melbourne. Have you watched the documentary Supersonic about the English band Oasis? It was made by Asif. Love your shows. Nope. I did hear about it though. I heard about it. I had some people mention it to me a while ago who said they thought it was pretty good, but I haven't seen it, to be honest with you. Santiago writes, I fear Wrinkle in Time will flop like Tomorrowland, or am I completely wrong? Well, Tomorrowland didn't really flop. It didn't do well. But I wouldn't call Tomorrowland a flop, per se. But I agree with you. I think Wrinkle in Time is heading for the same kind. I'm just not hearing anybody excited about it. Now, maybe it'll come out and be a smash hit. Great. Maybe the movie's going to be awesome. Great. I mean, Ava DuVernay's directing it, for heaven's sake. So you know it's got a good chance of being a pretty damn good movie. But I have not liked the marketing. The trailers have done nothing for me. I have a lot of faith in Disney. I do. But the trailers for Wrinkle in Time, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, have done nothing for me. And I'm not hearing or feeling a lot of buzz from people about this movie. So I think you're right, Santiago. I think it's heading for the same kind of fate that we saw from Tomorrowland. Let me get my head together here. Let's see. Anthony writes, I fell out of my chair in surprise when you said that the average price of a movie ticket in the U.S. Over here, the best class theaters are $2 to $3 per ticket max. Well, yeah, it's a different world, man. It's a totally different world. Nathan C. writes, over under 40%, the Disney parks develops a Wakanda area. I'll go under. I'll take the under on that. They're more than likely to develop a Marvel land or something like that, but I don't think specific Wakanda land. I don't think that'll be the case. Blu-ray Movies UK writes, hey, John, what are your opinions on Superman the movie extended TV cut? I've never seen it. Never seen the Superman the movie extended TV cut. Devontae Brown writes, thoughts on American Crime Story, not American Crime with Felicity Huffman, season 2 assassination of Giovanni Versace. I feel People vs. OJ was better. Haven't watched it. I don't, like I said, there's not a lot of television I watch, and that's American Crime Story is one of the ones I haven't seen. Let's see. Gupta writes, how do you differentiate between a good and a great filmmaker? How does a director balance between business and creative? Love from India. That's fair question, but that's a question for a half-hour-long discussion. I mean, look, how do you differentiate between a good and a great director? It's all subjective. You watch their work, you see their body of work, you estimate whether they're great or good. I mean, it's really an individual thing. As far as how directors balance between business and creative and all that kind of stuff, that's a discussion for a much bigger time period. Javier Belmer writes, hey, John, do you think Kevin Feige would/should win an award for Best Producer at some point for what he's done with the MCU? It's quite a feat, to be honest. Well, they don't give out, I mean, maybe someday you give him an award like a Lifetime Achievement Award, maybe something like that. But the awards are given for excellence in that one year, not for what you've done with the MCU overall. You know, when Meryl Streep gets nominated for an Academy Award, she's being nominated for that one movie that she's in. If she was being awarded for her entire career, she wins the Academy Award every single year, but she doesn't win every single year. So no, first of all, the Oscars don't have a Best Producer award. They give the Best Picture award to the producer, but maybe a Lifetime Achievement Award at some point. Maybe if things continue to go this way, I certainly think he would qualify for a lifetime. Give him 5-10 more years, and if all the success keeps going, then at some point, yeah, you got to look at giving him a Lifetime Achievement Award. He seems kind of young to do that, but 5, 10, 15, 20 more years, and then yeah, you pop him with something like that. And Gupta writes again, how does a director balance business and creative? Again, that's a much bigger discussion than we have time to get into right here. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, don't forget, guys, if you're somebody who appreciates my shows and you spend any time hanging out with us here, do me a favor. Head on over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. Check out what it means to be a Patreon supporter of mine, how being a Patreon supporter keeps these shows on the air, and what benefits there are to being a Patreon supporter. And maybe you'll become one of my Patreon supporters too, which would be amazing. Also, guys, don't forget, jump down to the comments section, leave your thoughts on any or all the topics that we discuss here today. Click the thumbs up button. That helps just promote the video around. And make sure you're following me on social media, simply @John Campea. And listen, guys, if you want to get an email question on the John Campea Show, just email it to me at john@thejohncampeashow.com. Put the word topic in the subject line and keep those emails to 90 words or less, and maybe you'll see your question and email pop up at the first part of the show like those 3 other ones did today. All right, guys, that will do it for me. My name's John Campea. Thanks so much for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.